Welcome to Box Banter, episode 1 of season 2, 2026. I'm your co-host, Tim. I'm joined by a motor racing aficionado. You won't be seeing or hearing from him, so we're stuck with Ray, the host of the show. How are you feeling?
That's the first time you've introduced the podcast, right?
I know.
Yeah. How did you feel? Pressure?
I feel pretty good. Felt smooth.
Did it?
Yeah.
I'd
It
give
felt
you
great coming out of my mouth, straight into my ears.
Yeah, I'd give you like a 4.
That's
It
because
was like
you're
a
just
4 out of
upset. You
10.
thought I was propping you up, just to burn you down.
Well, I'm just curious as to why the co-host is introducing the host.
Do we need to expose...
Is that how those things usually go?
Do we need to expose the behind the scenes of last year?
What's that?
The shenanigans and the missteps and the misstarts every episode?
So we've just gotten into a new season and you're already throwing shade.
I suppose
All you have to do is turn up and talk about the race that you watched.
Hey,
Probably fell asleep halfway through too, let's be honest.
Look around. Look around at how easy Chris's life's about to get.
Yeah. Well, we didn't quite hit monetization last year, so we had to
scale back.
Well, had to make some budget cuts.
Yeah,
so
and some effort cuts.
Chris is actually gone. We couldn't afford Chris anymore.
True. Yeah.
So yeah, this is all we could afford now.
Some effort cuts, some budget cuts. Same banter. Same chit chat. Same knowledge.
Same knowledge.
Same knowledge.
No more knowledge. No.
Same recapping.
Yeah.
No, God no. I didn't study a lick over the off season.
Yeah, I didn't learn a thing.
No, I enjoyed the off season much like everyone else.
Yeah. How was your off season?
It feels long and short at the same time. Like I feel like I can't believe we're back here already.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know if it's because there's been a lot of big changes in the off season. I'm quite excited to get going again.
In terms of Formula One in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously a big regulation change is always going to bring, a lot of hype leading into the season. I feel like at the beginning of the off-season, I was more than happy to switch off F1. I was still recuperating from the Norris Championship.
Yes.
I don't think I've even fully recovered yet, but I'm going to push on regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely... Not to get too existential, but,
Yeah, I feel that.
It's been 2 months and it's like, I probably would have been like a little bit happier if Oscar won it at this point in my life.
Just a little bit happier?
A little bit happier. Like when the thought comes to mind, I would have been like, that makes me feel joyful. But it's something that I don't dwell on every day, to be honest.
As I was trying to get through my days through the summer, I would have been able to look back in glee and
if it
smile.
popped into my mind, it would have been, that was cool.
Yeah.
But now it was just like, meh.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like going in, I just want to switch off everything and didn't really care about F1 for a while.
Oh, we know.
But very quickly, the itch started to come back. And I was like, all right, I'll read this article.
Yeah,
what's
exactly.
Christian Horner doing? What's going on with Mark Webber?
That's a recent one.
Yeah.
Number changes, you say?
Yeah.
Let me read about it.
I believe you sent me something about Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for keeping tabs on that one.
Yep. Lewis is with Kim K now and Norris. Do you hear the Norris news?
He's broke
up with the misso.
Come on, did everybody saw that coming, right?
I didn't. I wasn't up to speed with the ins and outs.
Do you
of
even know her name?
No,
I don't know her name.
I don't know any of their names except for Kim K.
Kim K.
No particular reason.
Why do you know her name?
No particular reason.
Yeah,
no particular reason.
Keep that search history secret, buddy. By the way, are these just gonna sit there and get warm, or what's going on?
Grab your beer. Or do you need me to open it for you?
Oh, they're all. There we go. Twist tops.
Yeah. I was going to say, did you need me to open it for you? Am I embarrassing you in front of everyone?
Cheers.
To a new season, both for us and for Formula One.
I don't know why we didn't introduce beers onto the pod earlier.
Everyone will see in about 40 minutes, I reckon.
Yeah, were you a little bit worried about your form, are you?
Not me, I'm fine. I'll push right on.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, first testy pop.
Yeah, that went down nicely. That went down the treat.
Yeah.
No, it's a tough job drinking beers, talking Formula One. Someone's got to do it though,
No. It's something that we can nestle into our life.
All right, so I don't know how much we won't get we won't get too much into the 2026 season yet. I reckon we should just have a quick recap of 2025, as painful as it might be. You mentioned that you kind of have a bit more of an existential outlook on the season now, with a bit of time away from it.
Yeah.
Do you think that Norris's championship was deserved? Do you think now that you've had a bit of space away from it, he actually put together a good season and he earned the trophy and his name in the books? Or do you still feel like it was a weak championship?
Well, here's the thing. And again, with the existential outlook on it, doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter. But at the same time, you look at a Max Verstappen championship of like the last three. We got 21 history writing season and championship, and then his next three were just dominating. Where all you can do is look at it and go, oh yeah, he destroyed that.
Yeah. Whereas
you just look at the Lando one and I just don't think you don't have that same outlook. He didn't dominate the season. He wasn't in reach the entire season. It's not like, again, 21, Max won by, they were equal points. So you can't say he dominated that season, but he was there the whole time. Whereas Lando fell quite far behind. He had a lot of things that sort of built him up to being into that position at the end of the year. So it's hard to say that, did he deserve it? I mean, he won it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, does it? Like, he's in the books.
Yeah, I can't help but continue to compare him to Villeneuve, where it doesn't bring me much. You don't look at it. I don't know. It's just, it wasn't an exciting. I'm going to say it wasn't earned. It wasn't earned because we know what happened, how much got taken away from his biggest title rival in Oscar, and then what Max had to go through, particularly in the first half of the season, to even be in contention at the end. If he won it, boy, was that deserving.
Yeah, it's interesting when I go onto social media and I see any kind of Lando content. Now, we know that how the algorithm works. They always sort of cater things to your perspective and your outlook on things.
So how much Lando are you looking at?
Well, whenever like McLaren...
Because he barely comes across my feed.
Yeah, well, I did... Well, it's probably mostly through like the McLaren channels.
Yeah, true.
But I find it very interesting that people are still basically saying that, respect isn't given its earned in reflection to his season. I think if he's going to be considered as... I think if we're going to consider him as a true world champion and acknowledge what he did achieve last year, I think he needs to go back to back. I think he needs to... Or even if it's not this year, he probably needs to be next year.
He needs to be competitive. That's what it is. You don't have to go back to back, I'd say. But if he comes into this season and has the failings and doesn't have the massive support he had and he falls way behind, there's your proof. Like, Villeneuve's got the record for the worst championship title defense. That is a fact. I'm hoping, and I wouldn't be surprised if Lando puts a fierce effort up for that. I mean, with the new regs, it could happen as well.
That's probably something to keep track of.
Yeah. I'm sure it'd be more than just us keeping track of that too.
Yeah, in relation to of that Villeneuve run-up season, like that next season.
Yeah.
How does he track in competitive? I mean, he's still in a top 4 car. Everything seems to be that it's still going to be Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren, and Ferrari.
Yeah.
But it is all a very big unknown.
Very big.
So, all right. So, obviously, we're big Piastri supporters. It was... I think when the season ended, I was more in the mindset of disappointed and kind of a bit...
Oh, yeah.
The season fell flat and it didn't have this kind of, I don't know, intense finish.
All my feelings came true. All my fears came true, I should say.
But having the time away from the season, looking back at it now, I can't help but think, geez, he had a ripping season.
Yeah,
third year, he came through multiple race winner.
Led the championship in a row as well.
3 in a row, right at the beginning too. So led the championship for the majority of the season. And basically, we know from the start of the season, McLaren were very vocal in their support of Norris, despite all the papaya rule stuff. Piastri almost had no business being as competitive as he was, especially as a third-year driver.
Yeah.
So I think, coming away from the season now, you look back at it and you think that was an incredible season. If he can use that,
he scared McLaren. McLaren did not expect him to come out and actually be a problem.
Well, yeah, his performance was probably arguably causing them more headaches than they were not causing. So
I mean, we know that Zach Brown, this is Lando Norris, this is the era of Lando, or whatever he said, pre-season.
Yeah.
Like he thought
Lando
it was
Norris
going to
era,
be that easy. I really think that Oscar caught him by surprise. And then they probably went, let's see how far this goes. And then he won 3 in a row. And then he, the mechanical failure for Lando was the last straw. That was when McLaren were like, okay, Lando's not recovering himself.
Look, you could probably argue that McLaren was developed more so around Norris, like in Norris's favour. He'd been there longer, so he was more up to speed with that car compared to Piastri. So
and he was always going to be the number one driver up until 25. He rightfully would have been the number one driver, despite what McLaren say. When he had a rookie Piastri teammate, he was always going to be the number one driver. And even as a second-year driver for Piastri, Lando should have still had that first driver right, where they listen to him and he gets to develop the car. So going into last year would have been the first time where you could probably say you'd have to look at him in equal pegging and give Oscar that fair treatment.
Yeah, so I think if he can take what he learnt last year and use that as a building block to this year, I can't see any reason why he won't be competing for a title again. Or at least...
As long as the car's there.
As long as the car's there, or at least competing head-to-head with Norris and staying on par with him. He came out last season just fired out of the gates.
Guns blazing.
Arguably, you could go back to Melbourne and you could look at that as a potential race win. There was a chance for a move to be made there before it was called off. And then we know that they hit a puddle of water and one came off better than the other.
Yeah.
But it very nearly, we almost were in the universe where Oscar Piastri was a home Grand Prix winner.
Yeah.
So this year, I don't see any reason, again, provided that the McLaren is a competitive car, I don't see any reason why he can't really be one of the favourites to win this Grand Prix, this opening round.
I said this last year about Australia is the hardest race to win, especially as your home track, because especially this year more than ever, no one knows. No one knows at all. It's not like Hamilton gets to win Silverstone half of his career because he gets to get comfortable with the car, gets to know the car before he gets to his home track. Like as an Aussie, it's the hardest to win because you're expected to come out, don't know the car, you just expected to go out and win the race. And it's the same for everybody except the highlight is also on you.
Yeah.
You're the one everyone's hoping wins the race.
Yeah, the degree of difficulty is
enhanced.
Is cranked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's not mid-year. Last year he would have been a hot favourite to win Silverstone. He should have won Silverstone. But
how many drivers find form towards the end of the year?
Yeah.
Something clicks for them at some point throughout the season, and then all of a sudden, you could argue someone like Behrman had that where he just sort of struggled with the Haas at the beginning of the season. Towards the end of the season, all of a sudden he looked very racy and looked like one of the most competitive drivers on the grid. So you're not afforded that same luxury on your home Grand Prix.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going in cold.
Look at Max 2022. DNFs in Australia, DNFs in round 2, goes on to just destroy the championship, win everything, his home race included. The same thing. You got the new regs. You don't know the McLaren could be the best car in history, but you could still go out and find mechanical failures in round 1, and you only get one home Grand Prix for Oscar, especially.
Yeah.
You get one shot and it's round 1. It's near on impossible to win, and there's half a good reason why Aussies have never won it.
So, what did you think of the era in overall?
The previous era.
The previous era. Do you think it was an evolution of the sport?
I don't like it. I think I really liked the years preceding it, the previous gen.
Yep.
From 2017 to 2021. I think that's where the cars looked really aggressive. They looked really good, really sharp. But then the last gen, they were still massive, but then they went bubbly, like real bubbly, and then they meant to take all the aero off, but then naturally they got all super heavily aeroed, relied on aero again really heavily, and it was just obviously just not good for the racing, and the cars just got way too big, the tires got way too big, like everything was a negative impact on racing.
It was a fairly short era, to be fair. I mean,
22 to 25, so 4 years.
I wonder if they kind of identified that early on.
I know. I mean, the regs before that was 5 years. The regs before that would have been 2014 to 2020, so that's sort of 7 years. So it's a little bit short.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
But this is a huge overhaul now because that's engines and aero, like this new one. Like it's a complete.
Well, and it seems to be
rewrite of the book.
More emphasis on electronics as well. So we're hearing that you need like a manual to. It's like being in a fighter jet. There's just buttons and gadgets and gizmos everywhere, and you got to have a degree to.
It's now not like last year. It's time management. It's a time management race.
Yeah.
Now it sounds like it's an energy management race. You need to put all the emphasis on ensuring you have the energy in the car, the battery power stored, because you need that extra power. You need to put more effort into generating that, into harvesting that electrical power.
That's
storage.
actually a very interesting point. So if F1 is moving away, like more into an energy era and away from a tyre era, because we know like the last era tyres were almost a non-factor. They rarely came into play, especially those last couple of seasons there.
You're literally just doing one-stop races.
And how many times did we say if they just change something with the tyres, this could create more interesting racing?
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they're trying to do with the energy side of things. So even though the cars might be slower, which is always, I think, a shame. I think it's a shame when you're not as fast or even kind of in the same sort of ballpark. Like, I've heard drivers like Alonso say that they could be 50 to 60 kilometers slower and they're expecting them to be slower than the F2 category, which I think
is a failure.
Yeah, I think is that really a natural progression of the technology and the engines
even
and everything?
The skill going from an F2 car to an F1 car. Again, you're now going from just do the best you can, your raw talent, your car's capable, again, to then you're going to a racing where it's more about, conserving energy.
Yeah, so I wonder if this is going to be the big ticket to try and create more interesting races. So like, I guess maybe in the past, say you're running a long stint on a tyre and the tyre blew in the last remaining laps and, we've seen some very narrow finishes. I can think of Lewis Hamilton blowing a tyre and having to pretty much still complete a whole lap to still win the race. This like level of unknownness that can create a bit of randomness in the race and a little bit of intensity. Maybe that's what the energy is going to do. Maybe if you don't manage your energy well enough, in the closing stages of a race, you might not have the same performance as someone else who was on a different energy strategy. Yeah. And maybe that's what's now going to create a little bit more racing.
The problem is, so it's lap by lap. It's not even stint by stint or over the race. Like you need to like the window's that tight, they're needing to generate enough energy and manage it just over a lap. That's what, but the problem's going to be is everyone's going to use the same strat because that's what that's a risk,
racing
is now.
That's what happened with the tyres.
Yeah, it's because pit lane is a minute. Every single team looks at it and goes, all right, if we push this set, it's 6/10 quick over a stint. You're not making that 20 seconds up. Like pitting was never an option. Like an extra stop to be able to go fast on the racetrack was never an option because you'd not make that time up. Yeah. So every single car was stuck doing...
Not like it had been in previous generations.
It's not like the tyres were so much more wearing out where you can go... Theoretically, you can be 2 seconds faster over a stint if you stop an extra time and just go flat out. And then you'd have half the grid kind of do a bit of both and you're getting action on track. Yeah. Like they were so one-sided heavy. And I think that is the concern with the new energy systems. Because from what I've seen through testing, we saw it in Bahrain. That's not even the longest straight on the calendar. And halfway down the straight, they're running out of energy and you're seeing the revs drop. You're hearing the revs drop in the engine. They're not even getting into top gear.
I guess like being the start of an era though, everyone's kind of figuring it out as they go, right? So we might find next season they can manage the energy they'll better
tweak things like but again you'll probably find and this is where the difference this is where you might find a little bit of overtaking is drivers might go maybe the draft is really strong so the car ahead is using his battery to stay ahead, the car behind's sticking with him just in the draft and then he's able to use his battery later down the straight to then get his power And then the next lap, you can kind of have the reverse effect, the car behind. If there's not so much aero wash and they can actually stick with the car, do the same thing. So as long as the draft's strong, which, again, we don't know because all cars, I believe all cars will have this active aero. So even if you're the lead car, you'll have your wings opened up. So you're going to have good straight line speed too. So it's not like, as much as I'm happy DRS has gone, like the first car was always at a massive disadvantage.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah.
Whereas now every car will have their wings opening up at all points of the track, however exactly it works.
Yeah.
But as long as the draft is good, there'll still be opportunities to race. You just have to be smart on how you use your energy. But again, the issue is going to be everyone deploys at the same time. Everyone uses the same technique to regenerate that battery power. And then you're just going to have the same thing. Because everyone's doing the same thing because all the smart people in the factory have figured out this is the best strategy to get to the end of the race. Because all they're doing is going, we got 300 Ks. What's the shortest period of time? If it's an hour and 25 minutes, this is the only way we do an hour and 25 minutes. Is this many pit stops? This is how we use our energy. And if every team comes to the same conclusion, that's what they do.
Yeah.
They don't think out of the box, go something different, because then their maths will say, oh, that's actually adds 4 seconds to our race time. They don't look at factors of actually being on the racetrack, racing other cars, having other cars around. They just go the shortest period of time from start to finish. What's the best strategy to do that?
Sounds simple enough.
Yeah. But then they all do it. And then the racing's boring.
Yeah. So do you think you're overall pretty excited for this season? Or do you think
I'm excited. I'm excited because it is obviously a change of regs. It's going to change things up. It's very different. It is very different. You know, as much as we've all seen what we've seen through testing, we don't know how the energy is going to go. We don't know what the active aero is, what kind of difference that's going to make.
How much testing did you watch?
Absolutely none.
Neither did I.
Yeah, I caught some reels. Yeah. I caught some little briefs on YouTube. But there's no way I was sitting down watching an hour of testing, whatever it was a day.
Yeah. I was surprised. Like, I had quite a few people ask me, like, oh, what do you think of this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I was just, I was honest. I was like, I haven't been watching the testing. And I think it's, we've been watching the sport for a while. You know that nothing really means anything. They're all literally just trying different things and different setups. We know that teams sandbag. That has always been a thing. Yeah.
I mean, look at Ferrari. They came out... What was the point of testing when they come out on the last day with that hectic rear wing? What were they learning the first 7 days or whatever that they went and that would have made such a massive difference? Like, what did they actually learn? Like, they just kept that secret so other teams didn't have a chance to adapt one before Melbourne.
Well, that's the thing, right? It comes down to one of two things. It's either that. It's either they're just trying to keep it under wraps as much as possible because they have found some sort of a loophole that they're taking advantage of and they want to keep that advantage for as long as possible. Or it doesn't actually work. It's not too good and they put it away very quickly.
Well,
it
just throws the competition off and makes everyone wonder, like, is that a good idea? But they don't know now.
I guess we'll see, over the next few races whether that is something that they strap on and utilize.
Yeah.
It is interesting. Like, I do think it is very cool to see such a moving mechanism on the car. And I think it's a sign of where we're going.
Yeah.
It's almost like F1 or motor racing is getting more like video gaming in the sense of like more gadgets are being added to give you like different sorts of advantages.
Yeah.
That you can be deployed on straights or maybe we'll see it in corners or whatever. I think it's a bit of a glimpse into the future of what the sport could potentially look like, where it's lots of moving parts and lots of electronics doing all sorts of shit.
Lots of aids, lots of gadgets, gizmos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you're right. I mean, it's so far from you just rocked up with a race car and you just raced. You couldn't do anything to it. Your car didn't move. It wasn't a transformer. You rocked up and raced what you had, and it was a racing driver against racing driver.
Well, talking to the old man last week, one of the things I mentioned was the reliability of the cars through the testing period. Again, not from having really watched any of it, but there wasn't really any major malfunctions. I know that biggest news story was around Aston Martin, and it seems like they probably have some stuff to still sort out. But overall, like, cars were putting in hundreds of laps and not having catastrophic failures.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was interesting, just in the sense of, like, you know, okay, it's a new era, it's a new engine, new chassis, that maybe more hadn't gone wrong. But the old man made a point of, you know, the sport is supposed to be the pinnacle of motor racing.
Yeah.
So it should be the best of the best. It should be the best engines. It should be the best aero. It should be the best electronics. Things shouldn't fail.
Yeah.
It typically was a proving ground for new technology and advancements in...
And they're not...
anything automotive.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that we don't see, you know,
Common
10
failures.
teams rock up and half of the grid, you know, are cooked, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It might be the first time they're on track, but, you know, there's incredibly sophisticated computer systems that have already...
simulated everything.
Exactly what these parts are going to do, how they're going to work, the likelihood of failure. And that was a stage one. And then these parts would have been modelled up and put in a wind tunnel and stress tested and crack tested and fatigue tested, and the engines would have been already put on an engine dyno, and like they would have already had so much stuff done to them before they got put on a car. And then it's completely different when they're in the car and they're in a real environment, and you've got
different weather
Bahrain,
conditions.
you've got sand, you've got the sun, you've got dirty air. Like that adds a whole other stress, which is why they do the testing. But to that point, by the time they get to Bahrain, the cars should be, as you know, they're expected to 2 weeks later, without any major overhauls, go racing. You know.
All right, so I want to go to like some of the other teams like Cadillac. You know, obviously they're a new contender, but staying with Aston Martin for a minute. Obviously, I think, how can you not feel a lot of pressure? I think everyone is quietly rooting for Aston Martin to succeed.
That's a good point.
Like, you kind of get a sense that you got your go-to driver or your go-to team.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be mad if you saw Aston Martin and like Fernando have some success here. And I think everyone's rooting for them.
I think so. I think everyone probably was a little disappointed.
Well, I was going to say, there's probably no team on the grid that has more pressure on them right now. Yeah. Like, we know the success and the history that Adrian Newey has had in the sport. Now he's in the top dog position, and basically he's in control of everything.
Yeah.
So, you know,
he's the Lord and Savior as well.
Well, I don't think anyone's really expecting them to fail. I think it's perfectly natural that they're going to have some teething issues as he's, you know, I guess, building his dream car from the ground up. You know,
that's all he's been thinking about for 18 months.
Yeah, and we've seen him on the grid with his little notepad and sort of spying on what everyone's doing, and you know, now he's put all that into a big cauldron, and this is what he's come up with. So, you know, I think it's no surprise there's going to be some tweaking. I don't think anyone really expected Aston Martin to come out and it was like immediately they've gone from the fifth best team to the number one team. But there certainly is a bit of pressure there that they'll get it figured out and they'll be fighting for race wins. Yeah. You know, and I think Fernando Alonso seems like this is his last season. This is his last hurrah. I'm sure he wants to go out on a high. So if the car is a bit of a dud and he's sort of just really babysitting it again for another year, you know, not the ideal way he wants to see out his career either. So
no, I mean, if the car sucks, my early season prediction is he's doing the Indy 500 instead of Monaco this year for a start.
Well, you reckon he'll bail halfway through?
I think he'll leave. I think he'll pick and choose races he'd rather do something else if the car sucks. Because I agree, if the car sucks, this will be his last year. If it's good,
well, he might.
We'll see.
He might come back.
He might.
I see him ending on a high. Like,
well, either way, but I think like the car was 4 seconds off the pace in practice, which
was it really?
Yeah, 4.5 seconds.
4 seconds.
So you don't know what that means because again, a lot of teams sandbag. They might have been, you know, you don't want to give everything away straight away. You know what time you're capable of if you know you're running things a certain way. 4 seconds is a lot, but the biggest thing is, from what I saw, body language wise, they all do look pretty stressed and pretty upset, pretty nervous. And I heard apparently they're having some kind of major issue with the Honda power unit and they're not even able to ramp that thing up. Like they're running that in limp mode
Yeah, right.
to get through testing, in fear of detonation if they ramp the thing up. So I think there's some issues, but it's funny. Actually, I read this somewhere or someone commented on something. Adrian Newey is obviously he's the best car designer in Formula 1 history. Name me another car designer, right?
Yeah.
The other one you probably think of is Patrick Head, which is his sidekick anyway through Williams.
What do they call him? The man who can see wind?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as he's made, 6, 7 of the best cars in history, man, has he made some duds as well. He's made some very bad cars as well.
I mean, obviously the most famous is the Williams. That
there's that one. The early Red Bulls weren't very good.
So this is probably a perfect example, right?
Yeah.
Comes out with these new designs, technology, whatever it is, and they're a bit red hot and a little bit raw.
Yeah.
But once they get it dialed in, they have the potential to be...
Or it's so radical, it's wrong. There's that potential too.
And could kill a man.
Well, yeah, potentially. I mean, I'm guessing he designed the 96 car that Jacques took to victory.
Yep.
Good chance he designed the 97 car that he then was one of the worst cars ever, and he had his worst title defense as well. So, yeah, when you're working outside of the box, you're going to hit and you're also going to miss. How many teams are going to be looking at the rule book and going, all right, let's work with the rule book? There's not many that are looking at the rule book and going, all right, let's work with what's not in the rule book to an extreme extent. And that's what he does, and that's why he makes some of the best cars. But, yeah, this doesn't seem to be one. And who knows? Again, like I said about the Honda engine, that has nothing to do with Aston Martin. That's to do with Honda. Maybe once Honda get their shit together and they can provide them with the power unit they can actually utilize to 100%, maybe the area catches up or they're not so far behind. And what we're seeing now is so different from what we're going to be seeing in 6 months. The cars are going to be so much more developed. And even next year, one year into the regs, when they come back to Bahrain, they're going to be 5 seconds quicker.
So can you just explain to me, so the engines are now 50-50 battery and combustion. Is Honda responsible for both sides of it, or are they just responsible
They'd be responsible for the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Both, yeah.
So there's
Because they've got to obviously work in tandem.
So then each team that's developing an engine, and is there a name for these engines?
What do you mean?
The combination of, obviously we've had turbo hybrid.
Well, it's a hybrid. Yeah, it's a hybrid. It's a turbo. It's same thing. It's still a turbo hybrid. They're just more electrical than they used to.
So each team is building their own version of another turbo hybrid.
And they'll all be told I think they're a 1.6 litre V6. So, your bore and stroke's got to be all the same. Your horsepower has to be under the limit, and then do what you want. So the biggest thing I think...
So it's interesting because Honda have a very good track record for their engines. So
but again,
if you're suggesting that Honda are the ones that are maybe not bringing the product to the table and maybe a little bit more responsible for Aston Martin's woes at the moment, very interesting. They just went...
don't forget GP2 engine, when they came back into the sport.
That's true.
Again, they've had hits and misses in the 80s. Best car with the McLaren.
So maybe it's the partnership of Fernando, and Honda. Maybe they just don't like each other.
Literally, yeah. But the biggest thing I think this year that with the engine changes is they've gotten rid of the MGUK, which was the responsible for holding the spool of the turbo. So at all times they had instant power from the turbo. At all times. That's gone now. So now they have to manifest the turbo spooling the old-fashioned way, and it takes time to build that up. That's the biggest impact they're now having. I mean, you probably would have seen some of the videos of the start lines trying to take off. The reason they're revving those
I saw that ripping start that Lewis got
in the pit lane.
No. I did see that one actually.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Oh, the Ferraris don't take too long to get going. Yeah. It's a good 20. It's a piss take. It's 25 seconds. He's just revving it up.
But once they figured it out, he starting 7th on the grid and took corner 1 in the lead.
Yeah. That's the thing, because they're trying to build. That's all they're doing is they're building. They're building that turbo up to when they can take off.
I tell you what.
I mean, they're going to go from 5 seconds, the five lights, and it used to be it's a random allocated time before green, so you can't predict it. They're going to have to tell the guy who's responsible, you need to hold off for like 10 seconds before you hit that green button, just to allow all these cars to get to where they need to be.
I'll tell you what, I don't know many people who would be more nervous to be pulling up on that grid in Melbourne for the first ever launch, with 21 other cars around you. Like, definitely has a recipe for disaster.
Might be time to start at the back or from pit lane. You can just ease away.
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, the other good thing that's come out we've seen is the FIA. They seem to be open to change already to fix some of these issues that have come up already. I've seen a couple. There's something to do with the starts and all that. And there was some mode. They said originally you could use some start mode, but they've since cancelled that because of some reason. I can't remember exactly. But they're showing signs that they're going to adapt and they're going to allow, I guess because there's such a massive swing year on year with regs, so many unknowns, and they're learning things that obviously what they thought would happen in the computer testing and in the simulations aren't transferring. I mean, if they knew the cars could not spill the turbos up on the line, they wouldn't have just gone to testing happy days. Obviously, they anticipated them being able to, whereas obviously in hindsight they weren't able to as much. So, I mean, who knows? Again, maybe in a wind tunnel or in a controlled environment, you've got just really nice air pressure, oxygen levels that turbos love, and then maybe Bahrain. I don't know where Bahrain is, high, low, above sea level, but maybe straight away, maybe it's you're getting less air,
but
less
surely
oxygen.
they're testing for that too, though. Like all sorts of conditions.
Yeah, you'd think so. But how do some big glaring issues like that come up for all teams at the
catches them all off guard?
All of a sudden they're like, we can't start these cars. Yeah, they can't get off the line because we can't get the turbos to spool up under just standing revving.
So Cadillac, do you see them having any level of success this season? I mean, arguably their driver pairing is probably stronger than quite a few teams on the grid.
I mean, what's success? I don't think they'll get a win, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them like the odd podium if things go their way.
You reckon they could get a podium? You reckon they could fight for a podium?
I think so. They are. There's a reason.
Wow, there is
a reason that Audi and Cadillac are coming in now.
Yeah. At
this point, it's a reset for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Audi have the advantage of coming from a team already, but the fact is, if you hire the right people, they would have hired from within the paddock, Cadillac. So they've got F1 people in the team who've got the experience from last season, previous seasons. They're coming in only at a little bit a little bit behind the other teams with this massive swing. Like realistically, and you said it, their driver pairing, and they would be told. Well, they don't even need to be told. They know this is their last chance. Both those drivers.
This is two drivers that have sat out basically a season, right?
Yeah, but they're going to be motivated to not look like an idiot. And again, they know this is their last chance to just drive a Formula One car.
The two experienced drivers who probably know how to race smartly, in the sense of like they're probably not going to be high risk. They'll probably be looking to take points wherever they can and let everyone else make mistakes around them. You kind of get the feeling that both Valtteri, who was arguably one of the best, wingmen for Mercedes, and then Sergio, who really was, quite good for Max. He's been the best Red Bull driver, really, since Ricciardo.
Yeah,
as someone in that second seat. They know how to manage races and they know how to win races as well. So you don't see them doing anything stupid like, say, Haas, where they were running Magnussen and
a rookie.
Yeah, well, who was the other idiot that they...
Grosjean.
Yeah. And they just constantly found themselves in like silly situations.
Who had never won races, who are still trying to prove themselves.
And like, how many corner one incidents, how many first lap crashes, how many just... silly mistakes. You don't see these guys doing that.
The issue you have with these two guys is you've got two number twos. What are the odds that they're both still happy to risk being a number two? Like that's the only thing. Is one of them going to be like, fuck this guy. I'm gonna lay it down here to show the team I'm the number one. Like that's the problem.
Two very different personalities as well. Like Valtteri's a very like flamboyant, eccentric, big personality. Sergio's more reserved and
laid back. You don't see him outside of a Formula One weekend. You're not seeing him on social media. You're not seeing him in the highlight reel.
You're not seeing him in budgie smugglers.
He's not in Australian advertisements.
No. So it is a funny pairing, but I do think it's one of the best ones on the grid still.
It's a strong pairing for sure.
Would you say that? Okay, so this is something else that I was sort of thinking of. Coming into a new era with new regulations and new cars and everything. Now, obviously, it's still a car. It still has a steering wheel, 4 wheels. A lot of the things still remain the same, but it is a big overhaul. Do you think that a driver who has a lot of experience in F1 already, so let's say Verstappen, let's say Russell, let's say Leclerc, I guess you could say even the old heads.
Mm-hmm.
Or actually, no, I'll put them in a different category because they've gone through quite a few generations now.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think they have the best advantage, being that they have a good level of some of the old school and some of the new school? Or do you think that drivers who are very new to the sport, they have the advantage because they don't have to kind of forget how to drive the old way as much and the muscle memory, like, rewrite all that muscle memory. They kind of come in maybe a little fresher. Do you know what I mean?
It's hard because...
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like, and then you got Fernando and you got Lewis, who have been around for 2 decades plus,
See, I think
who have gone through multiple changes. Are they maybe more like tooled up for a regulation change, or are they going to be just left behind?
So I reckon it's hard because I almost say the young guns are probably your go-to because they're willing to do anything.
Mm.
But you got your Max out there. I still think Max
they probably won't complain about shit.
Yeah. Like as an example, again, another thing I've been seeing a lot of is apparently they got to use first gear to generate the energy.
Mm.
It's a fucking race car. Race cars don't use first gear unless you're maybe in the lane, which I don't even know if they really use first gear in the lane.
Just astounds me. Like, can the gearboxes take that?
Yeah, like using first gear in a corner, besides the Monaco hairpin, using first gear in a corner it's just not right in a race car.
So that's what I mean. You got to overwrite that thinking.
I reckon like maybe Hamilton would deal with it, but I almost don't think Alonso would, especially if the car is even doing the things he has to do. I don't think he'd do it. He'd be like, no, I'm not doing that. I mean, the car will react differently. Like it's not just being a cog down in the gearbox. Like the car will handle differently in a different gear. So you're all of a sudden like you're changing the way you've had to drive every year at Bahrain. Turn 1 will be second gear every year through Alonso's career, Hamilton's career. All of a sudden they're expected to use first gear.
That's
that
what I
might
mean.
Sound
like
silly, but all of a sudden like the car will react so differently. In your head, you have to remember to go to first gear from
I was going to say, so even that thing of you're used to, now it's an extra.
Yeah, okay. That's what I mean.
Can you even, is that even in your brain?
Exactly.
You got the muscle memory of it because you've been listening to the engine for so long and you've been having the same downshifts for so long.
But even now,
you've got to add an extra one all of a sudden.
You'd look at a map, you drive a track, and after 2 laps, you go, all right, I've got a pretty good idea of what gear I need to be in. I mean, for the last forever years, once they introduced the 8th gear in 2014, whatever it was, since then, every track they go to, they would have used pretty much the same gear at every corner. It's not even something you'd have to think about. You just rock up and you just know what you got to do. Now, practice is going to be one of those things where they have to test, they have to go, all right, do I use first gear here? No, not so much. Or yes, it's more learning that these drivers have to do, which is where a fresher driver like a Behrman or these younger drivers that are only a year or two in the sport, they're already learning. They were still learning for the last car. Now they're just learning this car. So they're still in that learning phase. So it's going to be probably a bit easier for them to adapt to that, pick it up. But then you got your Max, who will just, I think, he'd do anything to win. Red Bull are the ones who realize you have to, like first gear, the ability to use first gear is the ticket to generating enough energy
to performance. Yeah.
So they've also made their car able to control using first gear and have the balance of the car right to use first gear.
Like my thought process is, if you're banging the car down to first gear in high revs, that surely opens up the possibility for more spins, right? Surely,
if you go too early, you'll compression lock the rears and you'll spin, but you're also overloading the gearbox and the engine, which who knows how long these things will last as well.
Yeah, so I find that interesting is how many drivers can deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the heat of the moment when you're maybe making a move, you're braking a bit late, all of a sudden you have to
get the gears down quick.
Yeah, like what's the and like let's not even mention the wet. I can't even imagine like doing that in a wet race.
Oh, we know the cars will be in the pit lane.
Yeah, well, yeah, we probably won't have any racing. Yeah, the conditions aren't suitable for first gear. It's too dangerous. That it is an interesting factor there that I think will be
and that's a complete driving style shift. Having to use, I mean, I look at the whole calendar. I think honestly, besides taking off Eddie pit box and taking off the line, they would have only been using first gear at Monaco.
Yeah,
in racing conditions.
Yeah,
I'm very confident of that. And then now I think you'll see at every single track there'll be a corner or two where they're using first, just to all that energy, that engine running at high RPMs whilst off the throttle. All that engine braking is going to be generating the power they need. So they're going to every car, and this is what I was saying earlier. Every car is going to have the same tactic. Every car is going to be doing that. Every driver's going to have to adapt to that to be competitive. That's something you're going to have to do. Which I think in Alonso, if their car's already shit, I just don't think it's something you have to learn and adapt to. I just don't think he'd have it in him. Don't get me wrong. I think he's committed as anyone. If the car's there, I think he'll absolutely put the effort in to learn it and do it. But it's just when you're 44 years old and you have to rewrite the way you've driven for 20 plus years in the sport, I just don't know if he'd do it.
But it's not even that. It's not even like it's just that one thing that's been added and you got to adapt to. There's a whole...
Yeah. Like you said, it's all the buttons. You got to, push to pass, and then you've got the active aero, which again, I'm still not exactly sure. I can't remember exactly how that works, but it's a whole lot of adapting you have to do, which it could be a good thing. Again, if the Aston Martin was quick, I'll also be like, this is the best thing ever.
I think overall it's very exciting to have another team on the grid and have 22 cars. I think that's really good for the sport. And I know that one of the main reasons that they don't have more teams and cars on the grid is because of pit lane space at certain tracks and whatever, and blah, blah, blah.
I mean, there's a couple of things. They want the cars to be competitive. They don't want two cars that are just so far off the pace, and they don't want teams coming and going. So you need to prove you can actually afford to race. They don't want cars rocking up and then, go into administration, and then it's just a big thing that they've got to deal with, and then teams are in and out and in and out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of factors that go into it, which is why it took so long to get Cadillac involved.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be very exciting for the season. I'm looking forward to that. And it'll be interesting to see if this leads to maybe another team enter, whether that's through someone like a Christian Horner or whether he's going to buy into another team or whatever. But I think more cars on the grid only equals good things.
I think so.
I guess last year, like we saw how much of an issue back markers just consistently were
at the wrong time
on every race.
Yeah.
So, there is maybe a little bit of fear that we've added another 2 back markers.
But if they come earlier in the race, maybe it's a good thing because they always just came at the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Always came at the wrong time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yep. So I guess I'm gauging from you that you're probably still going to put your money on Verstappen as the favourite. I'm sure. Why wouldn't you? If you're gonna put $100 down on someone,
if
your safest bet is probably Verstappen.
Well, I've been hearing a lot about Russell's pretty high up for the bookies.
Yeah, it does seem like all the talk is going to be a Mercedes v Red Bull battle, and I definitely would be thrilled to see a Russell versus Verstappen rivalry. We know that they've had a bit of beef on and off in the past, so whether Russell can match Verstappen's level and actually go toe-to-toe with the beast.
No one can.
No.
That's the problem.
Well, we'll see. If he's got the car, though,
car's only half of
even if the car has a bit of an edge over the Red Bull,
I reckon,
I think the driver, Verstappen outweighs Russell as a driver. Obviously, he has multiple championships. But if, Mercedes do have the edge on the car, this could make it for a very interesting rivalry.
I think Max...
But before you go down that path, or more what you're going to say there, I still think that the wild card, and not for biased reasons, is Piastri. I still think that he looked like the best man for the majority of the year last year. I think it's going to come down to whether he's actually motivated to do what needs to be done to become the world champion that he can be, and he's shown he can be, or whether he's still going to be held down by grey area.
Well, I think...
I don't want to say...
That's a much better...
I don't necessarily want to say
don't say
the
grey
words.
That's actually a much better colour. I think so. Two things. I reckon Russell's car would need to be 0.3 quicker than Max's car to beat him.
You reckon that's the difference driver on driver?
Yeah,
is 0.3,
and that's huge.
That is
That's
huge.
I reckon Max can overhaul 0.3 lap time. I don't know how you gauge that. That's just what I'm saying.
Well, 10 laps is 3 seconds.
Yeah, I reckon
So-
Max, and we saw it last year. How many times that Red Bull was probably worse than 0.3 slower than the McLaren, and he won 3 races early in the year. As far as the other two drivers go, I think if McLaren were racing for 15th and 16th every race, I think Oscar all he'd want to do is just beat Lando. Then you'd have Lando the excuses, we're not really racing for much. But Oscar, I think he's got his eyes set absolutely on just proving to himself and to McLaren and to everyone that he's got it over Lando.
Because I do worry about him. And I think it's only because he keeps his cards quite close to his chest. So you never really know what his mindset is and you know, whether he has that killer instinct. You know, everything that we went through last year, basically at the end of the day was speculation, right? We don't really know.
We'll never know.
We don't really know. And maybe Drive to Survive coming up will give us a little bit more of an insight into some of those race weekends and what went on. I don't even know if I'll believe what I see on that half the time, but...
Well, how much did McLaren pay Netflix? I mean, McLaren partners with Netflix now?
Yeah, probably.
To turn the cameras off at certain times and redact certain things.
Yeah. So, yeah, I still think that he... if he really does want to be a world champion,
I'm sure
let's say that is his priority above anything. It'll be interesting to see if he does take the hard lessons he had to learn last season, which were heartbreaking as a fan, let alone as a driver, and apply that to this year. We said at the beginning of last season, if he's going to be world champion, he's got to have a perfect European campaign.
Yeah.
If he can nail Europe,
it fell apart.
he is in a great position to win the championship. And it did. It fell apart. And some of that stuff was, again, grey area stuff. Silverstone is a prime example.
That was, yeah.
Let's not go back there. Flashbacks. But I think now he's like, you can only control what you can control, right? There's so much that you can't control that if you put yourself in that position, we can see how quickly it can come apart. So, number one, I think he's just got to qualify. He's just always got to out-qualify Lando. No matter what, you got to put that lap together and you got to make sure you got the priority for pit strategy. Because we know how McLaren like to play silly games there.
Yes.
But you cannot give them the opportunity to play games with the pit stop strategy. So he's got to be dominant on qualifying.
Yeah.
It sounds obvious, but that was probably one of the things that hurt his campaign probably more than anything, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was nowhere near the front during the back half of the year.
He cannot go into race weekends and come out without points. You know, Lando, despite how he got some of his wins, he didn't have as many races where he came away with less points than Oscar or no points. That really hurt Oscar.
I mean, that was the thing. I think they ended on the same amount of wins.
In the end there.
Max had more, but then, it was Lando's podium getting...
Yeah, and just in some of those like kind of races where McLaren was struggling, Lando just seemed to have the edge on Piastri there and would just outscore him and chip away. You know, what was it, 30 points at one point? Or getting close to 30 points that Oscar had as a lead?
Yeah, it was over 30 after Sandy.
It just got chipped away. So they're the two big things. And I think, again, he's got to be perfect in Europe. That's his strength, right? So we saw him rip off the triple header win last season.
Which wasn't in Europe. That's the thing.
Which wasn't in Europe.
Pre-Europe.
So if he can still come out red hot at the beginning of the season and then just dominate Europe, if the wheels are kind of wobbling and starting to fall off at the end of the season, how we did see last year, hopefully he now has a big enough buffer to carry him through to the end of the season. And this is all assuming that McLaren is still
competitive.
So
that's the thing. I don't want to get too excited about even considering the concept of him being champion.
I will.
But you just don't know. Don't get me wrong. After round 3, you can start to think these things. But McLaren could come out and be eliminating Q1 in Australia, both cars. And you're like, straight away, well, there goes that dream.
Well, you'd be
like straight away. That's what I'm saying about, I just want him to beat Lando. Don't get me wrong. If this was the one last year with the last regs, I'd be right now telling you he'd be champion.
Piastri,
It takes you need to lose a championship to win a championship.
100%. I believe
unless
that's
you
true.
are Michael Schumacher or Max Verstappen. Everyone else, you need to lose a championship and use what you learned to win a championship.
So the flip side of that coin then is how motivated is Norris to try and win another one?
So here's the thing.
Has he checked that box and been... I believe he's that guy of like, I've done it, so nothing else matters from here on out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that he's the kind of driver like a Max Verstappen where he's like, I want to compete, I want to race, I want to win everything I can selfishly, you know?
I think, say the McLaren's competitive. Say they come out like they did last year. We're going to hear a lot of championship hangover. That'll be the excuse. It's all going to be excuses, as usual.
Yeah, we already
Norris
know.
will come out.
He's got him locked and loaded.
He'll struggle against Oscar. It'll be championship hangover. You know, he's won the title. There's going to be all the excuses. And then Oscar's going to be, it's going to be the opposite of Oscar. It's going to be, McLaren, you know, they're trying to help him now a little bit because of that. You just wait if they're competitive. If they're not, don't even worry about it. You will never hear papaya wheels again if they're not competitive. If they're not top 6 competitive, you'll never hear papaya wheels ever again. It'll just be something that happened in the past, and then they'll get sponsored by Monster or something, and they won't even be orange anymore, and you'll never hear it again.
All right, so there's a lot of drivers and teams on the grid, and most of them I just don't want to talk about. Talking about Piastri is certainly one of my favorite things to do. So sticking with that, I saw in the news, I sent you an article earlier in the week that it seems like Mark Webber will no longer be trackside with Piastri for the season, which does beg a lot of questions there.
It very much does. Yeah.
Now, it's from what I understand, he's brought on board his race engineer from F2 to manage him. Now, this could be one of two things. This could be, no, you know what? I reckon this is one of three things. So it'd be interesting because we haven't spoken about this yet. I just sent you the article.
I didn't read it.
You didn't read it?
It looked like clickbait.
It's all clickbait, right? Everything's clickbait. So I reckon it's one of three things. So either McLaren didn't like the way Mark Webber handled last year as a manager, and we know that Mark didn't really say much in the media and was pretty reserved, so we have no idea what sort of conversations were going on behind the scenes. But maybe he was butting heads with McLaren, and McLaren kind of stepped in and went, no more Mark. Like, he needs to be reduced, or he's not allowed to be in the garage, or whatever the case is. So that's scenario one. Scenario two is maybe Mark wasn't as savage as what he needed to be as a manager from Oscar's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of these drivers have, like, you know, Jos Verstappen. He's in the garage. He's always fighting for Max's best interest. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter at what cost or to who. Often it's kind of embarrassing at times. Yeah. You know, some of the things that he'll say or demand. But at the end of the day, his only priority is Max. Yeah. You know, and I wonder, was Mark like that? Was Mark that
Well, we know
killer?
Straight away, we know he's not.
Well, his racing career kind of reflected that a little bit, didn't it?
And I know, as much as he was probably silenced by contracts and all that, if Jos was also silenced by contracts, which is obviously not, he'd speak out. He would not let a contract...
Or you find a way to filter that information through to the right channels.
You would not let a contract or the money or the fines that may come with it stop you from speaking out if you think something's going wrong, the way it was going wrong for Oscar last year.
So the third scenario then is, I guess, an extension of that second one, is if Mark wasn't maybe the manager that Oscar needed him to be at the time to get him through those low points, maybe going back to this F2 guy where it's like, we've done this before, we've been here before. Maybe Oscar trusts this person to be the one to help deliver him the championship. Like, be that guy that he can rely on what do we need to do to get this done. We've done it before. Yeah. Let's try and repeat that success again. You know? Yeah. And I don't know what that relationship for McLaren might be like, whether he's allowed to be a little bit more involved in things. I don't know. Like, maybe the whole thing of Mark, it wasn't nothing to do with McLaren. You know, and so maybe this was just a purely an Oscar decision of like, I'm going to make a switch now.
Well, how many drivers have two managers, for starters?
I don't know.
I don't know of anyone who has two managers. And then not every
That's actually
driver,
a good point because he wasn't fired or let go.
Yeah, he just no longer
officially.
is his
It's just
trackside manager. But then that, to me, begs the question, why do you need a trackside manager? Like, if your manager's your manager, it's a perk to go with your driver. Like, why wouldn't you go with your driver? As long as there's no issues, they would always just be there.
Because I'd assume that, like, you're leaning on someone like Mark Webber for his experience. So say...
but not everyone. Look at Carlos Sainz. His brother manages him.
No, I know that. But this is why you have a Mark Webber, right? Like, again, if you're choosing, like, a family member to help manage you, you could probably bet that they always have your best interests at heart. They don't have anything else, any other hidden agendas, most of the time. Whereas if you bring someone else in, maybe there is other agendas there. Maybe that person doesn't always have your best interests at heart. So I don't know. I don't want to assume anything, but
this is what I'm saying.
Could that be?
I almost wonder: is it one of two things? Is it Mark wanting to step back, and they don't want a whole lot of speculation right before the year, so they're like, let's just picture it this way. Maybe Mark's like, I don't want to go to the racetrack anymore. I didn't feel like I did you justice. But they don't want it to all of a sudden be like, well, why is Mark and Oscar breaking up after this whole time?
Yeah.
Or Oscar is like, you really didn't do me very well. Same thing. I don't want to just dump you like this for publicity reasons. So let's structure it this way. And then, in 12 months, you'll see that Mark's just no longer even there. Rather than, like, that's to me what it feels like. Because why two managers? It does make sense. Why have your on-track manager could be your off-track manager?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, this is a good point.
If all Mark's doing is managing his contract, why can't his F2 buddy do that?
Because you'd have to, that's only half of it, right? But I feel like the other half of it is manage the driver in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, and which is the trackside stuff.
And maybe, that's where Mark failed.
But
As against someone Mark who's gone through this before. And
that's the thing. You're saying about Mark's best... or Oscar's best ally is Mark, who can steer him away from his own misfortunes. But he's gotten rid of what Mark was best for, or what Mark could have been best used for.
Which I guess answers the question almost, that maybe he wasn't as effective as
like there's some kind I just feel like there's some kind of a falling out there.
It could just be that Mark's like, you know what, I don't think this is for me. Maybe I do want to step back, and this is just the way they're handling it. Yeah,
that's what I mean. It might just be like the PR team at McLaren and Oscar are looking at it like 2 weeks before the Australian Grand Prix, do we want news coming out that Oscar and Mark have broken up? And you can frame it however you want, but the way the media is going to jump on it. Yeah. And the questions that would be going nuts, distracting Oscar at his home Grand Prix. Mark's not with you anymore. He's broken up. What's up? Like, I reckon that's what it's going to be. And this is the cleanest way to deal with it, is just, all right, Mark's still your manager. I guess you have two managers. Two managers for one driver.
Yep. Mark will no longer accompany you.
And they'll already have all of their answers lined up in the media pen for what's going to be said. And it's that simple, and the interest will drop very quickly because the answer is that, Mark's still manages, no issues. He's just focusing on non-driving stuff.
All right. Well, before we wrap it up, is there anything else that you want to touch on, or any other things that you took a mental note of to chat about?
No, honestly, I came in with no notes, mental or otherwise.
Yep.
This is the new us. We just riff. We just rock up and riff.
Yeah, it's I'm stoked for the new season. I really am starting to it's only 2 weeks away. So, and it still feels like that's ages away. It's like, it's going to be a long 2 weeks waiting for Melbourne. But no, I'm really excited to be back here doing it again. It's
in this slimmed down version.
Yeah. I mean, if we can't be at the Melbourne Grand Prix, at least we can pretend like we're trackside there.
Exactly. And I don't know
it's too expensive these days.
I don't know if the camera can tell, but I'm burnt. I'm trackside ready.
You came
I'm pre-burnt.
Pre-tanned,
Pre-sunburnt.
You mentioned to me before that you're watching a lot of NASCAR.
Oh, yeah.
I know you just like motor racing and you'll watch pretty much anything. But I wanted to ask you real quick, has there been something in NASCAR that you've seen or watched that you thought would be really cool for F1 to adopt?
Well, I talked about it every year. Last year is the tyres.
Like that's still your the big thing for you?
They bring a spec tyre to every racetrack. Every racetrack, well, there might be a couple of tracks that share a tyre, but every type of racetrack has its own unique tyre that will work well and produce good racing. Like the fact that Formula One think they can rock up to 24 different tracks in 24 different environments through 4 seasons over the entire world and expect these tyres to produce consistent, good racing is a laugh. Where NASCAR
and that's probably why they're overdeveloped, right?
Yeah.
Just to really accommodate every kind of scenario.
Yeah. The shoestring budget in comparison to Formula One, what NASCAR run, and Goodyear will put the effort in. And it'd be costing them a lot of money. Like they do it. NASCAR and Goodyear, they do it purely for the fans. Purely because what pays the bills? Entertainment. People watching. You know, those numbers they can take for when the media rights come up again and get a better deal. Get more money for the teams, more exposure. Like, this is the problem with Formula One. I said it every race last year. It's an hour and a half snooze fest that they sell out every single week, and we keep going back to watch.
Well, I'll actually alter that a little bit. We keep coming back to watch, yes, and there is a good amount of people who do, but it's actually astounding to me how many people I talk to who are newly into F1 or just getting into F1, and they don't watch the races. They just basically follow along with it through the news, and they watch Drive to Survive.
Yeah, well,
right?
that's one.
And they might catch one or two races through the season, but they're not watching every race.
Yeah,
and that makes me just wonder: is that a symptom of a bigger problem? Like the off-track stuff is more entertaining than the on-track stuff.
And it is. I mean, that's the thing. So like NASCAR, 36 races a year. Every race goes for about 3 hours, and it is just entertainment. Things are always happening. The cars don't get me wrong, it's completely different sports. Formula One cars cannot make contact. Like, I get it. And you don't want them to. But there's nothing that can generate a pass in Formula One. We saw last year, like, passing was an absolute scarcity, you know, because they just can't pass. The dirty air, the cars are too big, they generate too much dirty air off all the downforce, the tyres are too big and grippy, they last too long. NASCAR's the complete opposite. Like, yeah, they do get a bit of aero wash, but there's way around it. The delta difference in the tyres is massive. Like, you're constantly seeing tyres falling off, cars able to race, you know, different pit strategies producing different results. It's all down to the tyre. And Formula One, they need to do something with the tyre. And I know they won't, because Formula One are all about, you know, they spend so much money, but for some reason they don't want to spend money either. And they want to be, they don't want to pollute. So, you know, they try and bring as minimal tyres as they can, and they need to just understand you're either a entertainment industry or you're not. And they're trying to we're the suckers who keep rocking up. I mean, NASCAR race today, I watched one today. The last 2 NASCAR races, there was over 100 lead changes.
100 lead changes?
In 2 races.
How many laps are you talking?
In total, about 500.
Okay, so...
But 100 lead changes, even still, that's, you know, 20%.
Yeah.
You look at back-to-back F1 races, you know, say 50 laps each, 100 laps. How many lead changes do you see? 1, 2? And again, the racing is completely different.
I'd probably argue maybe some races can hit that 20%.
Oh, in lead changes, besides...
sorry, lead changes. You know, you're right. Sorry, I had overtaken in my mind.
That's just lead changes. That's just the amount of time for lead swaps. Like, that's what I mean. And I get it, it's a different type of racing. But NASCAR could be boring as dog shit. If they had tyres that didn't go off, if they weren't allowed to make contact, they would suffer the same fate. But they understand, they adapt. Through the year, they'll make changes to just enhance what you see on track.
Yeah, it's a very pivotal point, I feel, for F1. You got a lot of new eyes on the sport all of a sudden, and a lot of them are more interested in the off-track stuff than the on-track stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you have races that aren't really creating much talking points, and they're not really giving you, like, you know, they tried so hard to hype up the season finale last year, But if you'd watched the sport for more than 5 minutes, you knew exactly nothing was going to happen because nothing could happen.
And exactly nothing happened.
But yet they still tried to hype it up as like, this is a big heavyweight season finale, but it all comes down to this. 3 drivers are in it. And it was like, no.
Yeah.
One driver is in it.
Yeah.
The other 2 drivers
because you know
are
exactly
just...
what's going to happen. The first one of them can win. It doesn't matter because the other 2 will just arrange themselves in a certain way to ensure that one of them will win. Like Formula One relies on weather or mechanical failures.
And they're even taking away the weather part of it.
They're taking away the weather.
More.
And naturally, you know, you don't want mechanical failures. So even as a fan, you know, you can hit your own driver. So you're not necessarily rooting for that. And the chances of it hitting the right driver, like it did for Lando Zandy, which somehow had a negative impact on the whole year, like the chance of it happening the way you want it's or consequentially are very minimal. So the things you're relying on in Formula One to produce entertainment and mixed results is incredibly rare.
Yeah. So it's just...
I mean, Michael Jordan won back-to-back races these last 2 weeks.
I knew you were going to bring his name up.
I had to.
Yeah, I'm wondering about this engine. Like, they're pushing more into a electronic future where fans are crying more and more for the return of the V10s or
just
even a V8, you know. Whether that comes, hopefully it's not too late. You know, people lose the interest or switch off before they can make that correction. I think if it is true and that these cars seem almost like a de-evolution and they're slower and kind of less entertaining than F2, I think you're going to have a big problem. So yeah, it's going to be a fascinating season for so many different reasons.
I'm excited.
And like the whole reason I don't watch any testing is because none of that matters. How many times have we, watched testing or followed along with testing and it's like, oh shit, it's Williams the year. Like, Williams have a beast of a car. Yeah. They top the time sheets like every session, whatever it is. Come Melbourne, Williams are right where they
should be
or have been,
Yeah.
And you're like, man, what was all that hype in the off season?
Or Red Bull are a second and a half off and then they get to Melbourne and pull the sandbags out.
Yeah, Red Bull have fallen off. They're not going to be competitive. Verstappen's going to change team, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's all just the media just blowing up a whole bunch of nothing.
You're right. That's why I don't watch it because I don't even watch practice and there's slight consequences for that. You kind of get a somewhat maybe of a gauge of how a weekend might unfold. Like there's no chance I'm sitting down and watching testing. Like you just don't. You can't even now.
I was surprised one of them, one of the sessions like day 2 or whatever popped up on my feed, and it had something like 1.6 million views, and I was like, wow. I mean, I get the whole thing of like there's new teams, there's new liveries, they're new
you might
looking
watch
cars.
It for 10 minutes.
So you might jump on just to see what everything kind of looks like. But I was very surprised to see that many people had jumped on to watch a testing video where it's like, do you really give a shit about what's going on here? Like, does anyone care what's going on here? Like,
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. See how the
nothing matters until Melbourne. Once the checkered flag drops in Melbourne and we see where the pieces have fallen, that's when we'll really know, I think, who's a real contender and who's a pretender.
Even still, like, we'll take it back to 2022. Charles won race 1, race 2, while Max DNF'd. Charles went into race 3 with a 50-point lead over Max Verstappen in the championship. I remember being like, here we go. Like, the coming back of Ferrari.
Yeah.
I mean, to think now, the opportunity to go into a season with a 50-point lead on Max at any point, it's a hell of a head start. And he reeled him back and dominated.
Yeah.
So, as much as Melbourne's important, like, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge.
No, I can't wait. What are we doing next week?
I think you're forcing me to watch DDS.
Yeah,
Binge DDS.
It comes out on what, the 27th? I think? 28th. Okay. So whether we can even watch that before we record another app.
Might have to do a cheeky midweek or something.
Yeah.
Delay it.
We'll figure something out. And then we'll probably do a live stream. So if you're like us and you can't afford to go to Melbourne because it's so goddamn expensive now, then pretend to be trackside with us.
Yeah. So we'll be live streaming and watching the race.
Yeah,
live watch.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Yeah.
As long as you can get the tech working.
Well, we don't have Chris anymore, so
Yeah.
one of us,
Did he leave you
one
the
of
cheat
us
sheet?
bums have to figure it out, and I'm pretty sure you ain't going to figure it out. So
No.
I don't even know what you do here. I mean, when we had the budget cuts, the first thing to go was supposed to be you, and I was like, this is really the
Hey, I
best.
tried
that we
to
have.
walk out the door.
So,
I tried. We'll pull back in.
well,
Chris,
you might-
he
if it's shit, you might dip halfway through the season like Fernando.
No, I'll be for the long haul. Yeah, Chris, he volunteered a spot for me, so
Yeah.
can't let him down.
All right, GG's. Thanks for the beer.
Yeah, no, thank you. You didn't finish it.
Oh, well, we'll be. Don't worry.
You're not
That's
going
too
to finish it. You're going to finish it on camera.
What peer pressure? What are we in high school now?
You're not going to let him see what 1B Ray looks like.
Well, they don't even know. Like, you can't even see that.
I shouldn't have ousted you.
Yeah, see, what are you
Oh,
supposed to have my
apologies.
back?
Yeah, my bad.
Maybe I will get rid of you. All right, GG's.
All right,
I'll see you next week.
Back here.
All right,
All right, see ya.
catch ya.